Gosh, I love seeing all these wins. These are like, honestly, guys, celebrating the showers is important too. Like these little things, consistently meal planning, coaching a group. Yay. Yeah, the encouragement side of stuff, I was so surprised with you. We're so proud of you guys. This was fun. Okay. So let's get started tonight. And again, I will move some more quieter as soon as my husband gets home. You can take a whole bag, yeah. Let's get started tonight talking about social media. And I know there was also, while I opened 12 teams for my kids, there's also a request for talking about VOD groups. So we will definitely get into that too. But first of all, we want to kind of get into the nitty gritty of giving you guys some like tangible tips and tricks on social media, because raise your hand if this is like all new to you and a little bit intimidating to do the whole. Perfect. 2 hands. Yeah, great. That's where Rachel and I were at first. So we are just going to tag team this and kind of go through some of the stuff we've learned, because we both started, guys, from ground zero. And if we can do it, it's like legit proof that you can do it too. Truly. Like, don't waste your time going back and looking at 5 years ago of our posts, but they were so terrible. So it'll give you, there's hope for you. Rachel, do you want me to start, or do you want to start it and we can just tag team?
I don't care. Yeah, go ahead and start. You can start. Go ahead.
Okay. So first of all, I think that, like, I love this quote that she pulled in here, because it's so much more about the mindset behind it than the technology that you're using. And I think a lot of times we let the technology side really scare us. But what helped change my mind of my honest to goodness, like, intimidation of social media, and to be totally transparent with you guys, I was very judgy of girls who are on social media all the time. I will own that. Like, I totally judge them. Like, well, you flaunting your life, and, you know, I don't know, we all get in our head about weird stuff. But when I turned my head and started thinking about this as such a gift of a platform that I could use to share a story and connect with people, it totally changed. So kind of switch your mindset with it a little bit, instead of being intimidated by the actual like apps and tools and stuff like that. So we're going to go through all of these things, kind of the nitty gritty, setting up, sharing your following, sharing versus selling, basics, what not to do, apps, and I think most important, a healthy relationship with it, because we don't want you guys getting burned out. We don't want you burning bridges with this whole thing. So this is first and foremost super, super, super important. And Rachel's is a great example. Mine is very similar. It looks a little bit different, but super, super similar. So first things first is, when you guys are adding people, you have to look like a coach, okay? Doesn't mean you have to have 20 million followers. I don't care if you only have 75 or 25, that's fine. But you have to make your profile, I'd really recommend it being public. I would strongly recommend that, just because you need to be able to connect with people. And then if you look at this, her photo, and you guys can be doing this while we're on this call right now, her photo is her face. It's not her and her dog, or her and her kids, or her from behind. Like, you can actually see Rachel's face in there. It has her name really clearly. And then it tells her, like, if I follow Rachel, she talks about these things. She talks about the Lord. She talks about she's a boy mom. She works out. I know she's from the South. Like, I see all of this stuff in here. So think about kind of what are the couple things that you're about. Your wife. What do you post about? Like in mine, I say, I think something about miscarriage and motherhood, because I talk about that. That's part of my story. So kind of the things that make you you. And then in your link here, this is the only place that you guys can put a link on Instagram. That's important. You can't drop links, hyperlinks in your text. No one will be able to click on it. So your bio link is the only place that anyone can click on anything. And guys, this should not be your Beachbody coach page, okay? We love it. It's awesome. But that is not what you do. So you can link this to your Google form, and we can help you make those. You can link this to, I actually just have it linked to Linktree, where you can put in several different links or forms, but make sure it's not Beachbody, not because you're trying to hide that you work for Beachbody. That's not it. It's that sometimes people get a weird taste in their mouth, and we don't want them to instantly dismiss you just because of an assumption. And you have more to offer than that. So no Beachbody lingo, no Beachbody links. You want to clean up your bio a little bit. And if you need help with that, I would actually encourage you guys, clean it up and then go take a screenshot of it and drop it in our new coach mentorship group. And Rachel and I will give you honest feedback. Like, we will be nice, but we will give you honest feedback on it. So you can go ahead and do that. And I'd really recommend doing that kind of tonight. Do you want to take this one, Rach?
Okay. Yes. I love Abby. She's like, we will be nice. So we will give you honest feedback. That's what real friends do, right? Like seriously. And we don't want you to have like this super salesy, like funny, crappy, like Instagram feed, because we want to help you succeed early. And I feel like Abby and I did all the wrong things, so we can teach you all the right things to do. So Instagram, Facebook, type in the chat bar, where are you currently building your business primarily, and what kind of intimidates you a little bit? All right, just be honest with us. We are going to talk to you guys because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. We are long term. We encourage you to stick with this business at least a year. And if you do that, then you are going to go through your warm market, which we talk about being your family, your friends, your coworkers, people you go to church with, all those things. But in order to continue to grow, which is entirely possible, we are living proof of that. I can't talk now. I don't know what's wrong with me. Being in this business 5 or 6 years, like you're never going to run out of people to talk to. Okay. Just hear that 3 people a month is your goal to get signed up in your challenge groups or as a coach, and you're never going to run out of those people to connect with and grow and invite to your challenge groups. But there is a strategy to it. All right. So currently, tell me also how many Instagram followers you have or how many friends you have on Facebook, please. And if you don't know, this is something you definitely need to know and need to be tracking every week. But I started with like legit no followers on Instagram. Maybe had like 10. That may be a lie. I may have had like 10, but they were like my friends and my family, or like really probably my family. And I had 150 followers on Facebook. So I had a long ways to go. And so if you go look at your Instagram following and it's like 79 and you're like, I suck and I don't know what to do. No, that means you have the only place you can go is up. Okay. That's the only place you can go. So you have the potential to grow every single day. So Abby, you can look, if you don't mind, to look at the comments for me while I talk. So growth matters. If you're not growing your social media following, your business will die. That sounds very dramatic, but it will die, okay? And so you can find new followers so many ways. It's really simple, you guys. We talk about this. Get on our power hours. Pay attention when we go live in the trainings. We'll teach you how to find followers. But my favorite way to grow my following on Instagram is to go to the accounts of people that I already know, like, and trust, and to follow people who are engaging with their content. So if you have college friends, sisters, local shop owners, like whatever, your favorite faith influencers that just aren't huge, go to their Instagram page tonight after we get off this call. Go to their last 3 posts and look to see who liked and commented on their post. Don't look at their followers, look at their social media content and look to see who liked and commented on their posts. And most likely you're going to have a lot in common with them, and just follow those people. Like, follow those people boldly. I definitely encourage you to look at their page to make sure that they're not something just really outlandish and kind of crazy, and make sure they're not coaches too, because you don't want to follow coaches, honestly. And so just go find people who are like you and follow them, and some will follow you back and some won't, but you will grow your following every single day if you do this. Okay. Facebook is super easy. If you get on Facebook right now, if you scroll a couple of times, Facebook is going to suggest people that you should add as friends, and they're going to be people who are friends of your friends. So I did that. My coach said, Rachel, follow 3 people every single day, and I've done it religiously, and I've definitely grown my following in 6 years on both accounts. All right. Some other things you can do is search hashtags. I hate searching hashtags, quite honestly. I hate to search hashtags, but it does work. It just takes a little bit more time. And definitely use hashtags in your comments. If you guys don't know that when you make a post, you can post up to 28, I think, hashtags in the comments below. And so like if you post a set of hashtags immediately after you make your post, like the first comment on your post immediately is your hashtags, that makes your post searchable for like 24 hours. So we'll talk more about that and creating your sets of hashtags, but just go grow your following right now, today, tonight. And I think on Instagram, you can follow like 50 people an hour and not more than that. So I do this a couple of times a day. Honestly, I sit down and just like when I'm in car line, while I'm waiting on my groceries or something like that before I get out of bed, like that's when I follow people. As far as posting, okay, so we want you guys to get that we don't want you to be a slave to your phone. We don't want you to be a slave to social media. But you do need to be posting consistently and in your stories consistently in order to build a following that trusts you, all right? Because every time you go silent for a week, people are like, she gave up. Like, I'm going to go follow somebody else who's more consistent, right? Because people want to follow people that they trust, and consistency breeds trust. And so we want you posting once a day, at least no more than once a day on Instagram. And we want you in your stories, maybe like a minimum of 10 stories a day. All right. But when it comes to your posting, we want you to definitely follow these basic rules. Always use your own photos. Never use stock photos. Please don't go find a stock photo of Shakeology or 21 Day Fix or, you know, something, even like quotes. I mean, it's okay to use some quotes from the internet, but it's really better if you just use like word swag and create your own white quotes on a white background and put your name under them. That's immediately building a brand, and it's something that people will follow and also make your Instagram look really clean. But people follow you. If I'm going to talk about motherhood and I post a picture of Lisa Turkers, they're going to be like, what? You know, people follow you. So you are interesting. Even if you don't know that yet, you are interesting. So always use your own photos. We really encourage you guys, don't always post in the moment. Honestly, sometimes my words come best in the moment when I'm feeling really inspired. But typically what I do is I sit down and I plan out my content for the week. I may not write all of my posts, but I know kind of what I'm going to talk about. And I definitely, a lot of my content comes from my scripture reading. It comes from my personal development. It comes from conversations that I have with other women. But taking some pictures beforehand will actually equip you to be ready to write those posts, okay? So Abby and I both use, I think, an app called Plan, Plann. And so what I do is on the weekends, or if I'm somewhere pretty, or if we're on vacation, or if we're just like out and about and the sun is shining, like I'll take a bunch of pictures that I won't use right then, but I'll stockpile them and I'll use them in the future. That way I always have photos. If I want to say something, but like I'm tired or sick, or my kid just like threw up all over me or something, like I can't go take a picture, I have pictures that I can pull and use. Because so long as the pictures are eye-catching, it doesn't really matter. I mean, you want it to pertain to your content, but so long as you always have some photos. Again, go back to your bio. I'm faith-based. I'm a mom. I talk about fitness. You know, we love to be outdoors. I always have a photo I can pull and talk about in my content. So make sure you kind of have a stockpile of photos so that you can use and you're not like scrambling and on your phone all the time. Definitely, you guys, we are more than just fitness. You didn't go from being like this homeschooling mom, this like whatever teacher, this whatever you do, whoever you are, to just being about fitness. So if you just start posting sweaty selfies on your Instagram feed, people are gonna like, what in the world happened to her? Like, who is this person? She's been possessed, right? So, you know, you're definitely going to share your daily journey. You can share your fitness, your workouts every day in your stories. We are going to tell you to do that. But when it comes to your squares, your posts, you want to be more than just fitness. Go back to your bio, reflect who you are. If you put in your bio that you like to hike, or you're into like knitting, or you're like, you know, you save animals, but you never post about that, then that's a little weird, right? So you need to post about who you are. Reflect who you said you are in your bio, and remember that people want to get to know you. They want to get to know you, and you are definitely more than just fitness. So make sure what Abby and I do, and we can help you do. Honestly, we do a social audit. What is wrong with me? I'm tired, y'all. A social audit at the end of every week. And so basically we go back and we look at our Instagram feed and we're like, was this interesting? Was it eye-catching? Did I get any engagement on these posts? Like how does this stack up with what I want my brand and my message to be? And so we're always just reflecting and kind of giving ourselves a grade and always tweaking so that we can serve people better. Okay. Let's talk about this, because I know a lot of people you can tell me in the comments too, was this one of your biggest fears coming into coaching? Is it still one of your biggest fears? It can be so easy to sell in your social media. Abby and I last week, we kind of showed you some pictures of what not to do, right? We are selling something, and so much good in what we have to offer people and what we have to sell. But people are going to connect to you and by your story and your transformation and your heart and your motivation before they actually buy Shakeology, right? So as you are sharing your story on social media, we want you to focus on sharing these types of things. Share your struggles. Nobody wants to follow a perfect coach, okay? Nobody wants to follow somebody who's had a six-pack abs since they were 4, like my Milo, and they've never struggled with gaining weight, right? They want to follow the mom or the woman or the whatever, the young professional who's like, you know what, it's really easy for me to gain weight, and this is how this is how I prevent that. This is how I've lost weight. This is how I stay focused, right? Share your struggles and share your wins. Share funnies. People relate. I know that whenever my Instagram seems a little stale or like I need some engagement, I can post a mom quote or I can post a quote that one of my kids say, and the engagement and my likes and my all that stuff, it just goes way up because people relate to that type of thing. So share funny things. Share how health and fitness has impacted your family. I think this is really important. How many moms want to set that example for their kids? How many moms struggle with getting their kids to eat healthy? How many moms struggle with like putting their kid to bed and they wake up at 4 when you're doing your workout, right? Like those are things that women relate to. So share those things so that you can inspire other people to overcome and to just stay the course even through those things. Definitely share value. We are going to teach you to give, and then ask, okay? You're going to give far more in your social media than you ask people to join you. What does giving mean? What is value? That is encouragement. That's scripture. That's a recipe. That is tips for getting more water in. That is business building tips, like value. And the more you're providing value, the more that people will trust you and they'll come back and they're more likely to join you in your challenge groups and your coaching opportunity. All right. And so those are just some basic ways that you can become an influencer more than a salesperson. All right. Okay. I'm going to I'll go into this since these are my pictures. These are just a couple of examples of that. Your photos, definitely, you guys, need to be clear. Please no like hazy gray, like photos where you can't see what it is. You can get filters, you can do whatever. The main thing is lighting when it comes to photos. Make sure your lighting is good and that you can actually see and understand what the photo is. This was definitely a value added. This was a takeaway from a devotion I was doing. It was scripturally based. And I just wanted to encourage people, encourage women. The next one, this one is like, again, I love to share this photo because people love it. I think it's just sassy and like it's just eye-catching. But this was value in that it was encouraging people who were making excuses in their business to rise up and get over themselves and take action, right? So like sometimes I can get a little bossy and pushy, but it's all rooted in love, all right? This was one of those funny mom things, like just people loved it. This was a stock photo, actually. I took it from somebody, not stock, but I took it from somebody on the Instagram and I gave them credit, which is really important, okay? But it was very relatable. And so my moms loved it. And that was an example. This is a very real, like kind of vulnerable post, which I encourage you to do these, even though they're scary. It was a picture of me showing people what I could make my photo look like versus what it looked like from a different angle. And again, this was just me being honest and showing people that, hey, my body is not perfect. I have insecurities, but this is the truth. Like I'm valuable. My health matters no matter what I look like, and yours does too. All right. So those are just some examples of adding value and being very real with people. I will let Abby, I made these slides, which is why I'm in most of them. So that I'm not like, this is not just about me. I'll let Abby pick up from here.
Okay, I freaking love Instagram stories. This is my jam. I know Rachel does too. And I would say, guys, probably a solid at this point in my business, 80% of my sales come from my Instagram stories. My feed is prettier And it's what I kind of like to think of as the magazine cover that draws people in and makes them want to read. But my stories are a total hot mess. And today they're actually not very good. I've just been a little off my A game today. But I don't re-record them when my kids run through. Like, I show that I have messy counters. It is just the real life. And I can't tell you how many messages I get from people, like, thanking me for being authentic. So when you're like, oh, I'm so nervous to like share, that is what really connects with people. I always share that I have right now, like laundry piles on my bed because I just, for whatever reason, can't keep up with it. And that's like a theme that I have rolling through here, the puppies in it, the kids. So be yourself, hot mess and all. Like, I mean, don't yell at your husband on your Instagram stories, like, have some boundaries, but don't feel like it has to be this perfectly curated thing. It does not. Share your workouts. And when I think about, I kind of like to think through, and if you're struggling with what to post on this, the trackers, both of the trackers actually have some great prompts for you guys on this, but I kind of like to mix it up. So if I do like 4 slides in a row of me talking, and you do need to talk on it. I know it's scary, guys, but people need to hear your voice. They need to connect with your story. Then I will have my next one maybe be just like a quick photo of my lunch or a boomerang. Like, I try to mix up the content a little bit, but I share my workouts. And when I share a workout clip, I will think, okay, what value can I add? And so I'll usually put text over it, and maybe it's encouraging, maybe it's talking about my challenge group, maybe it is, you can fill in the blank. And what I do, because I get a lot of questions on this, especially from new coaches, is I will record. I'll set my phone up on whatever I'm propping it on, some random thing in the garage, and I'll just hit record. I'll record 3 or 4 of my favorite workout moves, and then I'll upload them after my workout is done. So I'm not doing it in real time. I'm just grabbing a couple things and then sharing it there. I don't get objections rarely about Energize or anything like that because I'm sharing it every single day. It is in there by my Bible when I'm doing devotions or holding it. I'm not always talking about it. Sometimes I do, but I have product placement very strategically where my shake, my Energize, Recover, Beach Bars, Daily Sunshine, like whatever we're using, it will end up in the frame in some form or another. And sometimes I do actually talk about it, but it's not an everyday salesy thing. It's just showing that it's a part of my life. I share meals. People love food. I share my daily life. People love when my kids and my husband are in it. And I invite daily, every single day in my stories, there is some place for people to, whether it's a pull option, a swipe up option, which you can't get until you have 10,000 followers, but they can swipe up and message you. It might be a story thing. Can you turn off, please, buddy? Hold on. Just a minute, please. Go by. Go. All right. 2-year-old potty training. So have an invite every day in your stories. You need to turn it off, please. No, turn it off, please. Well done. Sorry, guys. Real life here. See? Hot mess, reality show. I'm pulling up some panties. Okay. So that's really important because not every post of yours is going to be an invite, but every day in your stories, people will know there's somewhere for you to connect with. So like this photo of Rachel is great. Like she's sharing stuff. She's sharing her clothes and stuff like that. You are fine. Hold on just 1 second here. Rachel, do you mind stepping in? I'm sorry. I've got to deal with this.
No, you're fine. I always have trouble finding the mute thing up there. But yeah, this was, I don't actually do this anymore. I should. I did something like Fashion Friday. And that's another thing. Like if you have trouble or struggle with like what to post or coming up with something every day for your stories, like it's really cool to have a theme. You could do like Motivation Monday and share motivational quotes on Monday. You could do Tasty Tuesday and share a recipe. You could do Well Watered Wednesday and like log your water throughout the day. Thankful Thursday. Like those are all things you could do like to create consistency. But the biggest thing is that you are showing people what you're doing, sharing real life unrelated to coaching and fitness. And real life can be like your kids. It can be like I share scripture every morning. It can be like, just a funny that your spouse says or something funny that your kids say. But just having a good balance of those type of things. And we shared that yellow business activity tracker in the beginning. I think it's in the units of our training, but it has some really good ideas on how to vary it and mix it up. And another thing I thought was really interesting on the National Wake Up Call on Monday, we want you show your Energize, show your Shakeology daily. You don't have to be like, I'm drinking a shake. Like, don't do that. but like you can show it in your pictures or share why you drink it. But I thought it was really cool. And I do this, but I've never thought about it this way. Like share one healthy meal a day, like one to give ideas and to also show people like we are not in the business of drinking 3 shakes a day to lose weight or to be healthy, right? Yes, we drink a shake, but we also eat really real good food. And I think that's really important for people to know too. When it comes to stories, um, I'm like Abby. Like I would say 90% of my customers and my sales come from my stories because they relate to who I am and what I'm doing and what I'm sharing. But now I want to tell you some things what not to do. Don't be on your stories all day long. Like people are going to be like, does she even have a life? Like, especially if you're trying to recruit people. Like I follow some coaches who, when you go to their stories, you can't even like see the dots because there's so many stories. And these people have kids. And I'm like, how in the world? Like your kid's not going to know what you look like without a phone in your hand. And I don't want that to be me. Like I want to show people that, you know, this is a good balance of work, life, family. But yeah, don't post 100 stories because people are going to get so tired of clicking through them. They're not going to care what you're saying. All right. So my goal when it comes to stories is like, you know, while I'm awake, I want at least one story an hour. Sometimes I have more, especially if I'm talking in 3 to 4 frames. But I want at least one story an hour because if you have a story an hour, then your squares, your bubble up at the top is going to stay red in your followers. And that means you're going to keep popping up in their Instagram stories feed up there, if that makes sense. So definitely don't just post fitness. I think we've made that clear. And don't make it all about you. So one of the things on the tracker is to recognize other people. And so like I always make it a goal to either recognize a challenger or a coach. And that can be as simple as sharing somebody's post to your stories, or asking someone to tag you. But like, and then another thing I do is I'll share like some of my favorite faith-based influencers. Like I will share if they do like a quote on their social media, I'll share it to my stories as encouragement. So, you know, definitely don't make it all about you. This is an image that our team did together, and it was just really fun. And this shows that, you know, like we are a group of women doing this together, and it's not just me. Definitely don't skip your stories. Now, I typically, most of the time don't post on stories on Sundays just because that's my Sabbath and I don't want to be a slave to my phone on that day. We really try to go a lot of technology free. I don't do it perfectly. But I do, like every other day of the week, I am present in my stories, giving people a glimpse into my life, inviting. Some days there's more posts or stories than others, but I am consistent and people can rely on me to be consistent in that part of my social media. All right. You guys ask questions too. I'll check the chat bar in just a second.
I'm on it too, Rachel. I'm back.
Oh, okay. Okay, you got this. Okay, chat. I'll finish this one and then you can take over.
Yeah.
Okay, so stories is honestly, like I hear so many coaches, they're like, I don't know how to record a video, like I don't know how to talk on stories, and we can help you with that. It's very simple. We're not gonna tell you everything to do. Like you have to go figure some things out on your own. Obviously, we had to for sure, but get creative. Like have fun with stories. I always say it's like a reality TV show, and you know how people feel about that. They're like addicting. So don't be afraid to be yourself, but get creative. When you're talking in your stories, like definitely talk to the people like you're talking to one friend right in front of you. That's really important. If you're like staring off in another direction while you're talking in your stories, like people are gonna be like, who's she talking to? If I'm talking to you like this, I'm like, hey sister, guess what? I know I'm supposed to talk about this today. If you struggle with this, please tell me, swipe up, you know, that type of thing. So talk to your followers. Definitely mix up your stories. It can't just be you talking all day long because people are going to get really tired of hearing you talk. And that's not anything against you. It's just human nature. We get bored quickly. But what I do, if you follow me, like I'll do some videos and then I'll do a still with maybe some words on it, or a boomerang or something like that. I'm definitely mixing it up. I don't ever post more than like 4 videos probably of me talking. And then I do a still or a boomerang just to keep it interesting. Definitely ask questions. Oh my gosh, like I have the best podcast. And I think I shared it in our team page in a thread, but I can share it with you guys too. It's Jasmine Starr, if you follow her, talking about how to engage your followers, and it is fantastic. Here is a rule for social media. You want to be more interested in the people who are following you than you want them to be interested in you. Okay. So ask questions of people, whether it's in your posts, in your stories, like ask people, how are you feeling during COVID? Put a poll in there, you know, happy face, sad face. Like what's the first thing you're going to do when you get out of quarantine? Put a movie in the poll or put a restaurant in the poll. Like ask people questions. They are going to engage with that. And every time somebody votes in a poll, ask a question in your question bar, whatever, you send them a direct message, and it creates engagement. It creates easy conversations. It also creates amazing algorithm results for you. All right. So definitely use the features, use the polls. Don't expect, like if you post about a challenge group or something and you put a poll in there like this one in this picture, you're not going to get as much engagement or votes from something like that as you are if you ask like, you know, what time does your kid wake up, you know, or something like that. But definitely ask questions of your followers and use the features for sure. All right. Abby, do you want to take this one? I guess it kind of falls in line with what I was just talking about. You're muted, Abby.
I like shrunk my screen, so I was trying to find something really quick and I can't make it. Wait, here we go. There we go.
Found it?
Yes. So yeah, this tracker is the one that Rachel is talking about, and it is awesome. One thing that has worked really, really well for me, and I think Rachel does this sometimes too, this will take a little bit of time to build momentum with, especially as a new coach. I noticed that when I started doing this, it took people a while before they would vote on anything, but it's very rare, guys, that people will vote on my poll that they want to join my challenge group. And if they do, honestly, 9 times out of 10, it's either some weird bot or an accidental click. Don't let that discourage you. I still put them up there, but every single weekend, I like to do a little series of polls where I'm like, hey guys, I'd love to know how I can serve you this next week. What do you want to see more of? And I'll usually do something like healthy dessert, healthy dinner recipe, you know, toddler activities, or how I work from home, you know, like time management, ab move of the day, or like move, like I just mix it up. And sometimes it's related to fitness, sometimes it's related to nutrition, sometimes it's related to things that I know people are struggling with, like I struggle with more with motivation or being consistent, things that I know are popping up for challengers. And when someone votes on those, that number one gives me really good feedback of what I can be sharing in my stories the next week that they will come back and watch. And I'm consistent with that. Like if they vote on it, I will most likely share that thing. And then the other thing that I do that's been really, really helpful is I go behind the scenes. So let's say Emily votes that she wants me to share healthy recipes. What I honestly would have done in the past as a brand new coach is I would have been like, yay, Emily, you know, I'm so excited. I share all the recipes in my boot camp. Want to join? Like, and I would have turned it into an invite. And you can do that. But what I like to do every week is the people that engage on that poll, I say, awesome, Emily, I'm totally going to share that recipe on Wednesday. So check back on my feed or my stories. But here's one of my faves. And I'll pull like healthy brownies from Fix Day, or, you know, I'll give them, you know, you struggle with motivation or consistency, like here's my top 3 tips, and I'll shoot them over a voice memo or just give it to them and I serve them first. That builds so much trust with your audience because you are coming to them giving things. You're not asking anything of them. And then I do that with every poll option, like everyone who votes, I interact with them back. And then that opens a really easy door for me to shoot them an invite the next week. And so as you're building this audience, and again, it will take a little while before people will start voting because I think sometimes people are scared to vote because they think you're going to pounce on them. So don't get discouraged. But every week, just start asking what you can share. And the polls are a really great way to do that. So I love doing that in my Instagram stories. And I usually do them on a Saturday or a Sunday when views are a little bit lower anyways. And I just kind of need something to fill in the gap there. And then, yeah, so Rachel already said this, like, be interested, right? So you're going to other people's posts. I know that Rachel and I both do the same thing where we will save posts. So I have on Instagram, I can share my screen here really quick. Can I share my screen, Rachel? I'm going to stop your screen for a second. So on an Instagram post, you can save, like let's say I'm not myself, I can click this little flag button right here, and it will save it to a collection. When you're on your phone, it will pop up a little bit more. And I have a collection that I could call like, like dream coaches or dream customers. And then they're the first people that I go interact with when I'm curious, like when I know, like when I'm like so tired, guys. I'm sorry. Rachel and I are the Hot Mess Express today. When I need to go engage, so I go and comment and I go and like and I watch their stories and I engage back with them. And then I also look at my insights. And again, I'm on my computer, so you can't see this as well. But if you're on your phone, there'll be 3 little bars up here, and I can look, or I can go to my photos, and I know now which photos get the most engagement, and I'm watching, and I know that like people like when my husband's and stuff, and it took me 4 years before he would be in photos with me. So don't, like, it was a long time. I know that my house has really bad lighting, so most of mine are in front of our garage door because that's where I can get a better angle. People like transformation photos, so I kind of have come to see like, okay, this is what people want, but then I also go and actually engage on their stuff and go watch their stories and like interact, like, oh, so cute, like I'm looking for that romper for Paisley, where did you find one? And just be genuine. So I think that's the most important thing. And it was hard for me to learn because I learned social media for a business. I wasn't social on social media first, so it felt a little bit like pulling teeth, where I was like, I don't want to be insincere and I don't like small talk, but you kind of have to learn how to show interest in people first and foremost. Get off the piano, please. Don't climb that. Like such a hot mess here, guys, right now. Yeah, get down. What's the next one?
Hold on, sorry. Okay. This is engagement.
You want to take this one?
Yeah. I kind of talked about this a little bit, and I know I've helped some. We are helping you guys one-on-one a lot. I know with your posts and your stories and stuff, but social media is social. You will hear me say that a lot. Like, you're not posting just to say, hey, this is me, this is what I'm doing, I want you to follow, right? Or I want you to join. You are like, again, be more interested in your followers than you are interesting. So I actually struggle with this because like I just want to post and go, okay, and that's just my like personality. I do love people, but like I'm like, okay, check the box, let's move on to the next thing, right? But if you actually create a post, whether it is about potty training your kid, or whether it's about your fitness results, or whether it's about marriage. I like to post about, healthy faith-based marriages a lot. I don't have a perfect marriage. Please don't hear that. But I like to talk about it, all right? I feel like it's part of my mission field. And so I want to ask questions. I want to engage people. I want people to feel connected to the story. I want them to feel like I'm talking directly to them, and I want them to engage with my posts for a lot of reasons. One, to build trust. I want people to feel connected to me, but also when it comes to Instagram, Facebook, whatever, the more comments, the more engagement, the more saves, the shares, whatever, the more views, then Instagram and Facebook actually like rewards you for having more engagement. And if you're like, oh my gosh, like I made a post and I got 3 likes, that's okay, you guys. Like Abby and I mean, I would post and some days I would get no likes. I would post and some days I would, like, my mom was the only one that commented, right? And so like you have to learn how to find your voice and how to do this, but we have lots of tips and tricks and tools and examples to give you guys. But just some examples of writing captions for your photos that engage people. Like ask her advice. People love to give advice. If you have advice on what outfit should I wear for date night, or how long did it take your kid to potty train, or like how long did you date your spouse before you got married, or things like that. People love to talk about themselves, so ask them about themselves as you share your story. Have you ever ridden on a boat? Have you ever skydived? Things like that. Tag a friend below who could use this encouragement today. Tell people what to do. That's really important. If you want that engagement on your post, be relatable, but tell people what to do. So like most Mondays, I share some workout videos, right? They're sloppy, they're messy, but people like them. And whenever I share them, I say bookmark this post, which is that little flag thing that Abby showed you. bookmark this post and come back to it later, right? So when people do that, every time people like, comment, bookmark, share, Instagram says, hey, Rachel's content is good. I need to put it in more people's posts. So that's what engagement is for. And these are, again, just some examples. But like if I do a post about like nutrition or share a meal or talk about a meal plan, I can say, go to my stories today. I'm going to share my meal plan. And so when people click from your post into your stories, again, Instagram is like, hey, this chick has got something going on. I think more people might want to see her content. Okay. So that's what engagement is about from a social media standpoint, but also it's important because it creates connectivity and trust with your followers too. I know you're asking questions, but I think Abby's got it. But some of our favorite apps that we use for social media, for our photos, this is an example. This is just a picture of the Plan app that I was telling you guys about. There's a free version of this on your phone. I think I pay like $9 a month to be able to use it on my computer too. But this just allows me to plan out my posts for the week and type them. So if you try to type a big long post in Instagram and it jumbles up your words, it's because Instagram doesn't do that. But if you type it in Plan and post it from Plan, then it makes it cleaner and puts those spaces in there. So that's a really good thing. You want your caption to be readable, right? I don't know if that's the right word. But some for photos, I use Snapseed. I use Lightroom. If you have presets, even if you don't have presets, you can edit your photos in Lightroom. But like if you want to pay $5 for a preset just to create some continuity and some branding with your photos, you can do that. I know I use them. Abby uses them. I have the white squares around my photos, and I use Square Ready. Again, most of these are free. You guys, you don't have to pay for these. And so like those are just a few of my favorite apps when it comes to my photos for my Instagram feed. When it comes to stories, again, it should be real life. They shouldn't be perfect. They should be a little bit raw, but you do see us share like cute stories or ads for our Instagram, for our challenge groups or coaching opportunity. And some of the things that we use are TikTok. Those are like the fun videos that we do with the music. Unfold is this white one right here. It's really easy to use. We use Unfold a lot, and it actually keeps your stories so you can use them again. Mojo is a little bit more fun. I don't actually use Over anymore. It's a little too complicated. Canva is one that you can use from your desktop or from your phone. But in Canva, we share a lot of templates with you guys for posting about challenge groups. So I definitely encourage you to use those. But just find ones that work for you. You don't have to use all of them. You can use one or two. Find a few that are your old faithfuls and really help you portray your brand. We definitely, you guys, this is so important, and it's not last because it's least, but it's here just to kind of bookend what we said in the beginning and to end this call. Social media can become addictive. Social media can become something that can easily define you. Likes, comments, how many followers do I have compared to somebody else? It can be something that can become unhealthy, and it can also be something that you maintain control of through prayer and being in God's word and personal development. But Abby and I both believe in our followers to be good stewards of, and we don't want to take that lightly. And what that means for us is that we are consistent in the work that we do. That's really important. We can't just show up one day and take off 3 days and expect people to trust us, right? It also means that we think about the content that we put out. Will this offend somebody? Like if I share a transformation photo, I thought long and hard, talked to my husband, prayed about it. And I don't share like a really skimpy. And so also, like, when I'm talking about my kids, am I sensitive to what I say? If they grow up in 10 years, they read this, would they think mom, like violated my trust? Those are just things that I think about when it comes to social media. Am I comparing myself? You guys, like you will fall into the comparison trap. Okay. You will, there's no way around it, but you also have to know that you can get out of it. Don't follow a ton of other coaches. Follow your coach. Follow one or two other people that you respect. But I'm telling you today, early in your business, do not follow a lot of coaches. Even people on your team, just don't, because you are going to fall into that comparison trap. Be yourself. Be who God created you to be. Find your voice, find your message, because someone out there is like you and they need to hear it. All right. So we want you to have that healthy relationship. Some of our best tips for maintaining a healthy relationship, definitely set hours for your screen time. There are a lot of things in this business, the majority of things honestly in this business you can do from your computer, and so the only things I do have to do really from my phone are post on Instagram, and I mean I can post on Facebook from my computer, but it's easier from my phone. But really and truly, logging my workout, my shaking, my vibe group, those are things I have to do on my phone. And this business is great because it is mobile. You can do it from wherever you're at. That's a gift. It's a blessing. But make sure that you are not on your phone all the time. Definitely, again, this goes in hand. Be where your feet are at. If you're having family time or date night or time with your friends or church friends or something like that, like turn your phone on airplane mode or put it in a drawer or something, or take photos to use later, but don't be on social media and posting in the moment. Be where your feet are at. Be present with your people. Definitely plan ahead. I talked about this already. Take photos ahead of time. Plan out kind of the general content of your social media posts and stories. I plan out like really what I'm going to post, invite to in my stories every day. I plan out kind of the basic theme of my posts, so I'm not scrambling, right? So that I can be more present and not be worrying about, oh, what do I need to do? What do I need to post? Do I need to take a picture? That type of thing. And if you are struggling, get some accountability. Your phone, if you have an iPhone now, it'll tell you every week, like, you've been on your phone 20% more than you were last week. You spend 8 hours a day on your phone, right? Like, pay attention to those things. Use those resources and be aware of what you're doing and how you're using that time. And just in everything that we've shared with you guys, like, you will hear us preach consistency from today until the day that we die. Be consistent in what you do. If you post 5 stories a day, 10 stories a day, be consistent. If you take Sundays off, be consistent. If you post, once a day, be consistent. And so that is really truly a very simple and not utilized enough key to this business. All right. So do we have any questions, Abby? How are we doing?
We are doing good. My husband is back, so I am in the bathroom, not interrupted. Yeah, I think we're good. I've been answering them kind of along the way.
Okay.
All of those things. I've shared this with you guys before, but I can't type apparently. Sorry, typos there. It took me 6 months, guys, of posting every day in my feed before it felt easy. And so really give yourself the grace. Like, if you're like, it is so hard to come up with posts and how are they just writing stuff? Like, it took me 6 months. And so really, like, when I was first coaching, and now I do use Plan and I love it, but in the notes section of my phone, if I had like a thought, I'm writing it down there, or read something that really stood out to me in my devotions, like, I would just plug it in there when I had space. I take some photos ahead of time, but I don't post in the moment. I don't, I'll write in the moment, but like, I'm not posting when I'm with my kids and stuff like that. Like, so don't feel, I'll upload my workout stories, and sometimes I don't post them for hours later because I came in and the kids needed me right then. And Instagram didn't need to see my perfectly curated workout things, but they will come and I will be consistent with that. So give yourself the grace and just the gut check. And also, like, I echo everything Rachel said about not following people. I stumbled into that and I struggled with that hardcore as a new coach. I followed every top coach there was, and I got honestly so confused with what I should be posting, because what works for someone isn't going to work for someone else. And so everybody has different styles and tips and what they're sharing. And I was just like, so it just became a mess. But when I leaned into my strengths, my story, and really shared through that, it built so much more trust. And your photos will get prettier and your captions will get better. But just really own who you are and be excited about that. And if you're looking at your social media and being like, well, no one will come to me because I'm not a top coach, I want to tell you guys, like, when I signed up as a coach, I watched my coach for 3 months. I didn't follow her, so she had no clue I was watching her. And if she wouldn't have showed up with consistency, I wouldn't be sitting here today on a Wednesday, not at work with my kids. Like, she had no clue I was even watching her. But I didn't know that she was the #1 coach in Beachbody. And honestly, if I would have known that, I would not have signed up with her. I would have been so intimidated by that if I would have known. So I think sometimes as new coaches too, you can feel like, well, I'm nobody, or, you know, you kind of start telling yourself these stories, and you don't know how relatable you're being to someone just by being yourself and being consistent. So it really, really, really matters, and you're going to get the hang of it. And all these things, you know, we'll share apps with you, we'll share stuff, but it's most important you just start showing up. And you're going to have weeks where your social media sucks, and we all are there, and that's okay. And it's not you. And sometimes I'll message Rachel and be like, are your story views down because nobody's watching my stuff today, and I don't know if it's me or if it's the algorithm or what. So like, it's just this thing that's constantly fluid, and it's constantly changing, and you have to think on your feet, and it's really fun. It's actually kind of fun to start learning. So I know you had some questions about challenge groups too, but before we get into that, briefly, do you guys have any other things on the social media side that you want to cover?
I find that I think you meant, I came in a little bit late, so I may be like repeating something, but I remember you mentioning a while back that, Abby, that like after some time you'll go and actually repost the same post that like you've done. That like when I have a brain fog, I'm like, okay, at some moment I had something inspiring and like heart-wrenching to share, and maybe that was like 6 months ago. And I've come to the conclusion with that like people don't read half the time like what we actually pour our heart and soul to put like out there for them, which is not bad. It's just like a fact of like the matter. So that's what I've been doing is I'll go back, like I'll post maybe a different picture, or even use the same picture that I posted back in like August of 2019 or an updated picture with the same caption. And that helps like the brain fog and kind of get that stuff recirculated too.
I'm literally doing that tonight, like legitimately.
It's just my brain just like, we're all like tweak it a little bit. But I mean, we put so much time and energy into content, like you can recycle it. Just, you know, our message is the same.
Like the other thing you guys can do too is looking at what really starts to get more like comments or engagement. Like I did a post where I talked about how my husband and I haven't been on a date in 10 years or 6 years because we haven't, and our marriage is fine. And I wrote this whole post about our marriage, and I don't usually talk about that. It blew up, and I was like, what the heck? Apparently people like when I talk about my marriage and my husband. So it's just like, okay, so guess what gets reused fairly often is some version of that story or a kind of tangent down that path, because I realized like my audience loves this. Like Audrey, you said your fridge post blew up. So like kind of paying attention to what people are liking, because they're going to connect with you, not because you're a Beachbody coach. They're going to connect with you because you're Emily or you're Roseanne, or they resonate with Ashley's story. And the coaching part and the challenge group part, that's a part they're going to stumble into and want to join you, but they're not going to come to you for that. They're going to come to you for you. So, yeah. Okay. We had some questions for some challenge group tutorials. So I would, by Rach, I'll share the recording. So let's kind of chat through that really quick. I would love to know what questions you guys have. You can either unmute or drop them in the chat bar, and we can just run through this really quick about kind of challenge groups, apps, things like that. And I will give the disclaimer that the whole bod groups thing is literally brand new, so I'm learning it right now too. I'm learning it a little bit. So what would be the most helpful thing for you guys right now with that? Anything? Okay, so as you guys think about them, drop them in, but a couple things I will tell you first is you will either be running your own group or running one with your coach or myself or Rachel. So we will have you covered, and you can kind of reach out to us individually if you're not sure where you fall in that category. But I would recommend going into your coach online office, and I will share my screen here so you guys can see this if you have not done this yet, because even if you're not really using bod groups or whatever, having your websites updated is really important. Let me log into one of my business centers here, because you can see your photos, you can see your, so in your, I need to like even find it here. I think it's in monitor my business. No, I can't even remember where this is, guys. I'm so tired today. I'm so sorry. Maybe and grow my business. Yes, my website's in profile right here. So you can edit this and you can put in a little bit about you. This is something that anybody who has your link is going to see. So I would encourage you to update this if you haven't yet and take a look at it. So I have my bio in here. I have some photos in here. It's all published and that goes live for people. So I would definitely take time to do that. Again, even if you're not running your own thing yet, because your customers will get this link and they will see it. So that's important. In terms of your groups, you can run them on the Bod Groups app. You can run them on Facebook. Like, you can do it however you want. And both Rachel and our team and my, depending on whose team you're on, we have all those challenge group scripts for you. So you're not going to have to come up with anything from scratch. I would encourage you, Stephanie, I saw your question. I'd encourage you to be involved in, I'd say 1 to 2, depending. I'd encourage you to be plugged into a challenge group if you haven't been in one before, just so you can have your own accountability and see how it's run. And then I have always ran one challenge group as well. Now I have some that overlap. So actually right now I'm running 3 just because of the time, but I'm 5 years into my business. And so I do things a little bit differently, but as brand new coaches, I would just have your one group. And then if you want to be involved in your uplines group so that you have just some support for yourself, you can totally do that. It's up to you. So that's what I would recommend doing. And then basically as coaches, your job is to go in there and just cheer people on and encourage them. So if you're adding someone to your coaches group, be active in that group, even if you're not technically like the leader. Be the leader for your person. So comment on her stuff and share stuff in there. I like to share when I'm having a hard day or when I ate the chocolate. I post that in my groups because I don't want people to think I'm perfect and I want people to know that this is sustainable. I share all sorts of stuff. So that's what I would say for there. Do you guys have other questions on that? That would be helpful.
I have a question. When it comes to like sending somebody the link to join the group compared to like how there's like a share link, which I'm assuming you're talking about when you send a share link, that's they see your bio and all of that stuff, which you can send out. But is it better? Because I'm finding like when I send the share link, I found originally, so maybe I'm doing this wrong, but when I share the share link, that they click on it and they have to request, I get sent an email and then I have to accept the request, which is kind of a pain. So is it better then to just get, when they sign up and or get their email at that moment and just send them an email invite versus sharing them with the link? That way, all they have to do is like one step, which is open the app and click accept. Is that what I'm understanding?
Yeah, I think I know because I'm in a group where they're working out a bunch of tweaks right now. So I think that whole like two-sided process might be changing soon. But for now, I have been just entering their email on my own and sending
and then inviting them there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I started switching to doing that because sending the link, I was like, oh, perfect. They'll just, but then they have to like request it. But maybe that is going to be better for people who like maybe haven't signed up yet or like who are, because I have like a link in my bio at first to be like, join my accountability group with like the hopes that people would click that so that I could start conversation with them about actually like signing up and like joining the accountability group.
Yeah.
Because then they would get like, I would get that emailed and that would be like maybe a benefit.
So I have mine set to like, and it'll make sense if you go into your settings where like my current customer, like it's sort of public. And so I've been getting a few, not a lot, but I've been getting a couple requests to join my group. And I've noticed they're coming from my leads. Like guys, once you've hit Success Club and you're an Emerald coach, you'll start getting leads, like free people who create accounts through Beachbody and then give them to you. So my leads or old customers who have kind of fallen off the face of the earth, they are requesting to join because they go into their account and see like, oh, your coach has a group. So that kind of prompts me then to reach out and be like, hey, I'd love to have you. Let's get you set up. And I can then set them up with their tools. But for people who are like totally committed and I am in those conversations with them, I just personally send them the invite.
And that's the settings you have set for like private or people who like want to join?
Yeah.
So I think mine are set only to private right now.
Yeah, I have mine set to, I think whatever the middle option is.
Okay. That makes much more sense. Cause I was like, how can I use this as an opportunity to like start the ball rolling with people who are like maybe total strangers? That makes more sense.
And this whole thing is new. Like if you would have been a new coach with me 2 months ago, I would have said, don't set up your websites. Like you don't need to worry about that because nobody ever went to them. But with this whole new platform rollout, that's changed. So I think it is important that you have something there because again, people will kind of stumble into it, but you're not going to use that as your primary one. How can someone change their name? The app settings, she could go into her Team Beachbody account. I think you can change your name in there. and by Mallory. So I think she could check that. And if she's still having issues, I think she can contact tech support and they can do a workaround for her possibly. So yeah, good questions. Any other questions you guys have for this week? You all set? Okay, so just show up. I've like those of you who I do see their posts a lot, like I'm so proud of your consistency. I know we have a bunch of emeralds popping tomorrow officially. So just so you guys know, Wednesday nights at 9 p.m. Pacific time for me, or midnight Eastern time. It's midnight Eastern time is the cutoff. So that is when kind of our new week starts. So as you guys are pushing for, like if you want to go emerald or diamond or anything like that, everything has to be wrapped up in place by 9 p.m. Pacific time, midnight Eastern. So you'll see all the shout outs and stuff. And then we get paid on Thursdays as well. So if you haven't yet, making sure you have your direct deposit set up, super important unless you want to wait for a check, which I don't. Just get a deposit. And we get paid basically a week behind. So like you'll be able to see your earnings and commissions in your back office, and that amount will get deposited the next week. So it's kind of, there's a little bit, so like I'll get to see my paycheck for next week tomorrow, but the money, like the numbers that I saw last week are going into my account tomorrow. So it's kind of, there's this like week off setting there. So if you're like, where's my money? That's probably what's happening. So hopefully some of you guys get paychecks. Drop in the new coach chat, like how you're doing there. And then I didn't get paid for 3 weeks as a coach. Like my first 3 weeks, I was just showing up and doing my thing. And so don't get discouraged there as well. This is something that is not a get rich quick scheme by any means, but if you are consistent, that compound effect that is talked about in the slide edge, that is going to really start happening, and it's really exciting to see. And there are new coaches who come in and just crush it because they have a really driving factor. So reach out to us, let us know what we can do to help you this next week. Is there anything else that you guys need from me that I can help with at all? No?
Hey, Abby, you responded to me. I think you said,
oh yeah,
sorry, it's Court. You responded to me about how I can see my URL, which I cannot see in the browser, not in the app. That was my answer, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I'll go to like actually to my Facebook browser, like my phone, it's like hard to see, but by Megan, but on the actual computer, if I just type in like Instagram, it'll pull it up and I'm like, oh, like there it is. The super corny name, don't laugh at me. That's basically what I do. Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, I'm proud of you guys. Thank you for taking time on Wednesday. Thanks for putting up with all our like hot messes tonight. This is just real. I love it. And we will chat next Wednesday, and then we'll have stuff in the page tomorrow. So we'll see you guys later. Bye.